Hey Jimmy,
Hello.
how you going?
Yeah, good.
Oh, you've moved to a nicer location.
Yeah, yeah. This is
Awesome.
just in the backyard. Yeah, if you want to show me grid stuff, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love to. Um, is there anything in particular you're curious about?
In the grid, I can like make FM stuff
Yeah,
really, just with like the wavetables and
yeah,
that kind of thing. Like I learned to make some like neuro bases from polarity. That was something cool.
nice. What style did you want to focus on again?
Xenon-esque dark prog, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm mostly focusing on rolling bass stuff. I
yeah.
like the rolling bass dark prog songs where the kick doesn't have a lot of transient. Like Brojanowski does it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, that kind of softer rolling bass
What
with a
what?
lot of space in the mix.
Yeah, okay. What kind of BPM?
138,
Yep.
like in between like 133 and 140.
Yeah, okay.
Got four songs open, they're all in 138.
Oh, I just naturally went to 138 when you said dark prog. I just was like, yeah,
Yeah, it's the dark prog.
yeah.
Good.
Suppose I could drop in some samples I've made of something at 138 just for kick and bass and percussion, and then maybe focus on some sound design,
Yep.
or we could just go straight into sound design. This one that I was thinking of, pretty cool stuff happening in here. Wave splicing synthesis was something that I'd never heard of until a couple of years ago, and um, yeah, I could walk you through this concept if you like. What it essentially is getting two different waveforms and splicing them together, and doing that with an audio rate crossfade. So we've got two different oscillators here, sawtooth and a wavetable, and you can see the yellow waveform here
Yep.
is the saw wave, and the blue is the wavetable. Both of their outputs go into this crossfader blend module,
Yep.
and this modulator is uh, crossfading at 2 octaves below, and I can set that to the same frequency or 1 octave below.
And that's just like the rate, eh?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yep.
this is a sub oscillator. You could actually use any
You could
oscillator.
use.
If I bypass that and then we just crossfade to the left, this spectrum analyzer shows just the wavetable, and this one shows the saw wave.
Do you know how it's different to FM?
Well, it's not the same as FM because neither of the oscillators are actually modulating the pitch or the phase of the other.
Right.
So FM, you would be using, say, for example, if I swap this out for a modulator, and I put a patch cable into it, and then come over here and modulated the pitch like this, that's FM. And we would need to listen to the wavetable oscillator. As you can see, the sawtooth oscillator is set to 7 semitones above, and that just suited a baseline kind of thing that I was making at the time. But I'll double click that and set it to the same root, bass or root note. And there's some stereo uh, detuning on it. I'll just switch that off. So now we're just mono. And let's simplify things. I'll turn off the filter. And I will switch off the modulation of this wavetable position. What did I use for that? This one. Yeah. So I'll switch that off too. And so now it might be easier to really visualize the wave splicing element. So you understand what phase means in terms of an
Yeah.
oscillator waveform.
Yep.
So if I was to put this bang in the middle, 50-50, and yeah, maybe I'll get this back on. And I choose a square. What I'm looking for is the center line, so halfway between the duty cycle of the waveform. I want to splice it straight down the middle so that the first part of the waveform is the wavetable and the second half is sawtooth, and essentially create a brand new waveform mix, which is 50-50 mix of both, switching it at the same frequency between the two.
Oh, yeah. So the wavetable and the sawtooth are they're just getting blended together. It's just like having them next to each other. But then the 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 oscillator's just working at an LFO, but it's at the same rate as the sawtooth.
Yeah. And
Oh,
yeah, and so if you choose a square shape, then it's an on-off switch,
yeah.
which is the most accurate choice if you want to call it splicing. If you think of
Mhm.
you sort of cutting the two different waveforms down the middle. Now, the split is a bit off. It's not in the center at the moment, and that I think that's because when I start the let's look at this waveform. I want this falling and rising edge of the saw wave to be in the middle. I think that would help. So if I think if I grab a level, if I go to the level category and grab value, I can use that to control the phase position of the sawtooth. If I plug it into this phase input here, we can control where we can control the phase position.
Yeah.
So if I try something like this. See, notice down here you can see that splice point more easily.
Yep.
Yeah. Not exactly sure why the phase at a quarter of the duty cycle is corresponding to halfway here. It's possibly to do with the pitch. So I'll line it up in the middle. It might not matter that much. I mean, it won't matter for any. It's not going to be the end of the world. But for visualization, I'm going to try and set it to the middle there. More or less, anyway. And then oh, there we go. So if I just crossfade all the way over to the saw wave, that looks a bit better. Something like that. But it's changing each time. Why is that? Maybe because I have that on. Yeah, so I actually needed to turn the phase
Yeah,
reset
because
off.
yeah, you think that would make it start the same in the thing because isn't that phase reset?
Yeah, you would, but I think the reason it's changing is because uh,
Well, it's
possibly
something to
the
do with.
frequency of the oscillator is not mathematically like um, related to how fast the um, oscilloscope is running, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right.
I think it should be if it's on pitch mode,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's not.
happier when it's just free and then it just sorts it out itself.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll get that in the middle like this, and yeah, so now we can do the same with this sub oscillator, which is um, controlling the crossfade. But what I'll do is I'll turn it on, but I'm going to route it into the other input of this oscilloscope, and then we'll be able to see where the splice point is.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, and I can do a similar thing with this value going into, if I duplicate that, and I put it here, I think does this have a phase input? Pitch, retrigger, doesn't, doesn't appear to. So, uh, maybe instead of using that, I'll use a standard oscillator. Can I shrink this? No, I'll just bring it over here. We'll get the pulse oscillator and wrap that into here, and then use this value to modulate the phase so that we can split it right down the middle. Were you going to say something?
Oh, nah. I was maybe just that. I do like stuff like this, making stuff from the ground up, because
Yep.
then if I want to change something, I can.
Yeah.
Like Omnisphere is great, but you're kind of stuck with, the sample that is the whatever the sound is based on and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's not modular. I don't think
or,
there's
or
any
just like
modular
any
features.
audio, like with audio, you're just kind of stuck with it. Like you can obviously modify it, but you're just stuck with it. But
Yeah.
with doing stuff like this, um, yeah,
Yeah. I quite enjoy understanding new synthesis types or even older ones more thoroughly because I think it leads to being able to conceptualize sounds in your head and know what tools to use
yeah.
to get the result.
Right, exactly. And I like that too. Because with the audio stuff, it's pretty random. You're just making random sounds and finding cool stuff. But like when I first started out, I was doing a lot of FM growls and
Yep.
a lot of automation on squelches and stuff, and I really liked it because I could hear a squelch and then into a growl in my head, and I could do it with the automation.
Yeah.
But so at this point, like the only FM like stabs and stuff is just like FM like serum, and it's like that's it. I want to know more
Yeah.
different ones like this, you know?
Yeah. I feel you on that. I want to be doing something that I'm curious about and sounds fresh to my ears, or not something I've heard a bunch of times already.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going into here. I've got it set down the middle with 50%, which is nice. And if I now patch that into the modulator, you can clearly see that only the first half, although it's not exactly,
So this
there's
is
a
like
little,
it's playing half one uh, waveform and then half the other one, like
yeah, exactly.
in one cycle.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Let's set this to 50-50. Yeah, Yeah, I can move
Who
this
comes
around.
up with this shit?
Yeah, I actually came across this technique on uh, a Eurorack modular learning school website, and he
Oh
did
yeah.
it with hardware. And there's actually modules that are designed to do it without you understanding what's happening. But I like figuring it
Right.
out.
Having the oscilloscopes is nice.
Yeah, I can move this pulse width around and splice it in different ways too. Like it creates a window that you allow one of the waveforms in, using the pulse width in this way to splice the wavetable oscillator into this gap is different. And uh, yeah, if we take that out for a second, you can see the saw wave
Mm.
and the wavetable in there. And let's just muck around until we get something interesting. Maybe we
Can
can
you
drop.
try turning
Go.
the pitch of the wavetable down by an octave? See what that sounds like.
Yeah, I was just thinking similar. One of the two, maybe we can boost. Oh, that's cool. Let's add this curves LFO thing back to the modulating the index, and maybe speed it up a bit. I'm going to go a little bit faster.
What does it sound like when you adjust the pulse width?
Yeah, you're thinking one step ahead of me.
Yeah,
That's different, hey?
that's awesome.
Yeah, and we could swap either of these out for anything. We
Yeah,
could
yeah.
change this for a triangle, and then fold it. Awesome. We could apply the same curve to the pulse width. And then I'd be curious to see if we modulate the pitch of these oscillators the same amount too. So we'll take this patch cable and go into here and give it a bit of modulation. Maybe that amount, and then we'll go up here, do the same amount. Is that minus 0.5? Sounds a little bit dirty. Let's get rid of that pulse width modulation.
Ooh. That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Isn't it?
It's like an alien spaceship taking off.
True. Yeah. I'm going to go back to saw. Let's Let's try sine. So I kind of feel like it's a little bit dirty. We could probably get rid of that dirtiness by swapping this out for something other than a pulse.
Um,
Yeah.
what's usually a good one? Phase one has usually got some good stuff. Like yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool because it's rising and falling at the same time. I don't know if it is rising and falling, but it sounds like it is.
Oh,
The perception of it.
oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
Like the pitch, it sounds like the pitch is rising and falling at the same time,
Right.
which is cool.
Yeah. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit, and we could change the wavetable. Smooth it out a bit. Maybe drop it an octave. Just the crossfading. Oh, that it'd be really nice to hear that in stereo. I thought that would
Is that
in stereo actually, but probably need to do it up here.
Yeah. That's
Get that
cool.
get that clickiness in the stereo width.
Yeah. With that like the stereo by, because that's just like the Haas effect, right? It's like just offsets one channel by a little bit, doesn't it?
Uh,
Or it pitches
it's
one
not
up.
the Haas effect, but yes, it does offset the left and right in opposite directions. Yeah. So
When you're using that, like same with like what is it like like Serum has it to make things wide. What's that called again?
oh, unison.
Unison. Because do you worry about that as very much when it comes to like when it's getting bounced to mono? Or
Honestly,
like
I
when it's
don't
being forced to
make
mono?
mono music,
Right.
so
You
I
don't worry
don't
about that
care.
at all. Yeah. Hey, that's cool. Yeah. Just
I
interested in your
mean,
opinion.
yeah, I probably an unpopular opinion, but um, yeah, I mean, if I was writing music that was going to be played, like pop music or something that was going to be played in,
Well, it's more for like clubs, like some clubs force mono, right? Or is that not a thing?
it is
I
a
know your
thing.
music's more outside music,
Yeah,
you know.
it is a thing, and I do play in clubs. Um, but the sound gets messed up in the club anyway. Maybe I
Yeah.
should care about it. Maybe I'm being lazy.
Well, it sucks because it's such a cool sound, but it really does. You get like that phasing sound when it's forced to mono. But look, I was just interested in your opinion. I've learned in life to like kind of take everyone's thing in to come up with something, not just like follow one
Yeah,
person's thing.
yeah,
So just
yeah,
curious as to what your thoughts on it was.
yeah. That's my thoughts. I probably should study it and understand it more before do some tests before I have such a strong decision. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not something that I think about very much.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, you were talking about unison though, right?
Yeah.
So you asked
Well,
about unison just to about mono
Oh,
compatibility, or
I was just comparing it. Like it causes the same issue. Unison and that little stereo thingy. Well, it's maybe not the same issue, but it's a similar issue. When it gets forced to mono, you get that phasing sound.
yeah. Well, I
But
guess
you know,
it would
not
be
worrying about it, it's cool.
good practice to force mono periodically, regularly through your production session.
Yeah, I do sometimes, and I will do like cut sides out with Pro Q3 and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And like I keep an eye on what's it called? Span has it, the correlation meter. I
Yep.
keep an eye on that with sounds, and
Yep.
just obviously keep it 0 or above. And when I see something's like in the negatives, I always put cut on the sides, like in the lows, and that
Yep.
usually fixes it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I just do that.
I've had a bit of a look at the correlation metering, and when it goes into the wrong levels, I feel like what I hear matches that,
Mm.
and usually using my ears, I can make decisions on where I should be putting a low cut on the sides and things like that. Yeah,
Yep.
I usually find myself putting that low cut around 250 to 300.
Like just for the sides.
Yeah, so sending everything below that frequency to mono
Yeah.
for reasons other than mono compatibility, though. It's more like to avoid muddiness, or to make sure
Yeah.
that low frequencies don't do anything unnatural that
Yeah.
competes with the low end that's
Yeah.
mono. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. I like the sounds of that. I like alien stuff, like you were saying last time, swampy frogs and crickets, and
Yeah.
textural crazy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much to explore in just choosing which waveforms to use, and then which octaves to use.
That LFO down the bottom on the left, is that doing anything?
It's controlling the filter.
Have you got some other good stuff
Sure
I
do.
can see?
Let's see what else we got here.
I love metallic, like industrial sounds like that as well.
Like what you just heard?
Yeah,
Yeah?
like it's got that like ting to it. You
Yeah.
know? I like stuff like that.
I think this is doing some chance-based stuff. It's a little bit on the quiet side, that one. There's the main output.
Are they just samplers?
Yeah.
It looks different in the grid. I've never opened a sample. I didn't know you could.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Are they different? They just look different, but they're the same?
They are the same, but yeah, they just look slightly different. Got the same features, mostly.
Yeah. That the thing that they're all plugged into, is that a like just random chance thing?
It's this is they call it merge, and it's a mixer, but it's actually more of a switch. It's inspired by sequential switch. Whatever you plug into this input determines which of these inputs is sent to the output.
Yeah, that's what I figured it was.
Yeah. So I've got just the value. I'm controlling it manually here.
Yeah, I've got a similar thing set up with an arpeggiator and the drum rack, but it's like shorter sounds.
Right.
But it's the same thing. I've got the pitch being modulated and the grain and everything, but it's a lot faster just for like percussive sounds. It's not
Yep.
my thing. It's a hypergeo thing.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, this is great. I'm definitely gonna get some use out of this.
Awesome.
Are they just percussive? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they got. What's this one? I don't even know. Some sort of drum or something. This is
Yeah.
yeah. There's quite a few different examples in there, but yeah, there's some super nice things coming out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. What does the clock do?
The what? Sorry.
If you go down, there's a little device called clock.
This is just a. Well, how do you explain it? It's an LFO, and
Oh.
yeah, you can just change the rate via
Oh.
and hertz settings rather than. Yeah, it's just hertz.
Okay.
Yep.
What about that thing?
The sine mod.
Yeah.
It's designed to control phase. So instead of phase being
Oh.
normal, following that normal path, which it would if it was just like this, because phase is controlled with just a linear ramp,
Mhm.
and yeah, you can just change it, and it ends up sort of reversing it and